I never imagined that one night could unravel 20 years of love, trust, and companionship. But life has a way of throwing curveballs when you least expect it. My wife, Emma, and I had been together since our early 20s. We built a life filled with laughter, memories, and shared dreams. From buying our first home to raising two beautiful kids, we weathered life's storm side by side. Or so I thought. Emma had always been the adventurous one in our relationship. She loved trying new things, meeting new people, and pushing boundaries, while I preferred the comfort of routine and stability. Over the years, her spark was one of the things I adored most about her, but sometimes even the brightest sparks can ignite fires you never saw coming. The idea of a permitted one-night stand had been a running joke between us early in our marriage. It was the kind of thing couples joke about in their honeymoon phase, never imagining it would become a reality. One free pass, she'd said with a mischievous smile, but only if it's Idris Elba. I'd laughed it off, thinking it was harmless banter. After all, love and trust were the foundation of our relationship, weren't they? Fast forward to a few months ago, and those words came back to haunt me. Emma had been acting different. It started subtly, longer hours at work, more nights out with friends, and an unfamiliar guardedness about her phone. At first, I didn't think much of it. She was busy, and we both had our own lives to manage. But the little things started to add up. A sudden interest in fitness, a new wardrobe, and an air of excitement that had nothing to do with our life together. Something was off. One evening, as we were sitting on the couch watching TV, she casually mentioned a coworker's birthday party she planned to attend. "It's nothing big," she said, scrolling through her phone. "Just a few drinks with colleagues. I won't be out late." Her tone was light, but something about the way she avoided eye contact set off a quiet alarm in my mind. I nodded, forcing a smile, but the knot in my stomach tightened. The night of the party, Emma looked stunning. She wore a sleek black dress that hugged her figure perfectly, paired with heels she hadn't worn in years. She looked like the woman I fell in love with, but something about her felt distant, like she was dressing for someone else. "You look amazing," I said, trying to mask my unease. She smiled at me, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Thanks," she replied, grabbing her purse. "Don't wait up." The hours ticked by as I sat in the living room, pretending to watch a movie while my mind raced. I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. My phone buzzed, a text from Emma. "Having a great time. Don't worry. Love you." It should have reassured me, but it didn't. The message felt mechanical, like it was written out of obligation rather than genuine affection. By midnight, she still wasn't home. I called her once, twice, 3 times, but each time it went to voicemail. My heart pounded as I tried to convince myself there was a reasonable explanation. Maybe she lost track of time. Maybe her phone died. Maybe... I shook my head, unwilling to entertain the darker thoughts creeping into my mind. When Emma finally walked through the door at 1:30 a.m., I was waiting. Her cheeks were flushed, her hair slightly disheveled, and her eyes sparkling in a way I hadn't seen in years. "You're still up?" she asked, surprised. I nodded, trying to keep my voice steady. "How was the party?" She hesitated for the briefest moment before replying. "It was fun. Just the usual office gossip and bad karaoke." She kissed me on the cheek and headed upstairs, leaving me sitting there, my suspicions growing like a storm on the horizon. Over the next few weeks, the distance between us grew. Emma seemed happier, but not in a way that included me. She was distracted, always checking her phone or finding excuses to stay late at work. One night, as she showered, I found myself staring at her phone on the bedside table. I hated the idea of invading her privacy, but the nagging doubts were unbearable. With trembling hands, I unlocked her phone, using the passcode I'd known for years. My breath caught as I opened her messages. There was a thread of text between her and someone named Adam. My stomach churned as I read their exchanges. Inside jokes, late-night confessions, and a message that made my world collapse. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again." I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. My mind raced as I tried to make sense of what I was seeing. Was this the permitted one-night stand we joked about? Had she taken it seriously after all these years? My hands trembled as I put the phone back and sat on the edge of the bed, staring into the darkness. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I could do was wait for her to come out of the shower and confront her with the truth. When Emma stepped out of the shower, she looked relaxed, her hair damp and her robe loosely tied. I sat there, my heart pounding in my chest, clutching the phone in my hand. She noticed me immediately, her smile faltering. "Is everything okay?" she asked, her voice cautious. I took a deep breath, my hands trembling as I held up the phone. "Who's Adam?" I asked, my voice low but steady. Her face went pale, and for a moment she didn't say anything. The silence stretched between us like a chasm, each second driving the knife of betrayal deeper into my chest. "It's not what you think, Ben." She finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. I laughed bitterly, shaking my head. "Not what I think. So, last night was amazing. Doesn't mean what it clearly does? Don't insult me, Emma." She sat down on the edge of the bed, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. "It was just a mistake. A one-time thing. It didn't mean anything." Her words hit me like a sledgehammer. The woman I had loved and trusted for 2 decades was sitting in front of me, confessing to a betrayal that I never saw coming. "A mistake?" I said, my voice rising despite my efforts to stay calm. "Emma, we've been married for 20 years. We've built a life together. A family. How could you throw all of that away for a mistake?" She looked at me with tears in her eyes, but I couldn't tell if they were tears of regret or self-pity. "We talked about this, remember? Years ago, we joked about a free pass. I thought—" She trailed off, shaking her head. "I thought maybe it was okay, that it wouldn't hurt you." Her words stung, cutting deeper than any knife. "You thought it wouldn't hurt me?" I said, my voice trembling with anger. "How could you think that? How could you think I'd be okay with this?" She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "I'm sorry, Ben. I really am. I wasn't thinking clearly. It was just, I don't know what came over me." I stood up, pacing the room as I tried to process what she was saying. "Who is he?" I asked finally. "Someone from work." She nodded, her eyes fixed on the floor. "It's over, though. It didn't mean anything. And it's done. Please, Ben, can we just move past this?" Her voice cracked, and she looked at me with pleading eyes, but I couldn't find it in me to respond. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling as my mind replayed every moment of our marriage, every promise we had made to each other. I thought about the life we had built, the memories we had shared, and the future I thought we were working toward. And then I thought about Adam, about the messages I had read, and about the trust that had been shattered beyond repair. The next morning, I left the house before Emma woke up. I needed space, time to think, and I wasn't sure I could face her just yet. I ended up at my best friend Mark's house, the only person I felt I could turn to. He opened the door, bleary-eyed but concerned when he saw the look on my face. "Ben, what's going on?" he asked, stepping aside to let me in. I sat down on his couch, my hand still shaking as I told him everything. He listened quietly, his expression shifting from shock to anger to sympathy as I spoke. "Man, I'm so sorry," he said when I was done. "I can't even imagine what you're going through." I nodded, staring at the floor. "I don't know what to do. Mark, I love her, but I don't think I can ever forgive her for this. How do you move past something like this?" He sighed, leaning forward with his elbows on his knees. "I don't know, Ben. That's something only you can decide. But whatever you do, you don't have to go through it alone. I'm here for you." Over the next few days, Emma and I barely spoke. She tried to reach out, leaving notes and sending texts, but I couldn't bring myself to respond. Every time I looked at her, all I could see was betrayal. Finally, after a week of silence, I sat her down and told her the truth. "I can't do this, Emma," I said, my voice breaking. "I can't look at you without seeing him. I can't trust you anymore." She cried, begged me to reconsider, but my mind was made up. "You made your choice," I said. "Now I have to make mine." The divorce was a long and painful process. Dividing 20 years of shared life into separate piles was like tearing pieces of myself away. But as difficult as it was also liberating. I realized that staying with Emma would mean living in the shadow of her betrayal, and I wasn't willing to do that. I deserved better. In the months that followed, I focused on rebuilding my life. I leaned on my friends and family, rediscovered hobbies I had forgotten, and slowly began to heal. The pain of Emma's betrayal didn't disappear overnight, but became more manageable with time. I learned to let go of the anger and resentment, not for her sake, but for mine. And as I stood on the other side of the storm, I realized something important. Sometimes walking away is the bravest thing you can do.